Welcome to Sports Talk Live, a show that resembles that of ESPN's Pardon the Interruption. I am Colin Talbert.
I'm Hailey Kunz.
I'm Gutzman.
And we have a lot happening over the weekend, some good, some bad, some ugly. Guys, of course, let's start with the ugly. Our Green Bay Packers, they lose to Lions 19-7 Sunday afternoon, held scoreless in the second half. Guys, what happened? I guess what your overall thoughts of the games? We'll start with Diesel here.
Well, first of all, the offense struggled terribly bad. The defense I was actually kind of happy with. They didn't shut down Megatron, but they contained him as good as any team can do. And, you know, they contained the other weapons that the Detroit Lions have. But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't look too well, only 16 for 27. And, you know, questionable play calling by Mike McCarthy. But, you know, they struggled a lot offensively, and they really need to get that going here soon.
Haley, what were your thoughts on the game?
I agree with the bad play calling. I just think that, and McCarthy admitted to it, they just kept the unproductive running game going way too long. I mean, Lacey couldn't get things going. I think that the run game just wasn't there. Rodgers, he played not very well. I mean, not like Aaron Rodgers at all. And he threw 5 underthrown passes this week and 6 last week. That's just very unlike him. And I think right now they're 28th in offense in the league. That's just not a Packers type thing. I just think the offense wasn't there for them. I think right now tight end is a huge struggle, huge spot that's just really hurting them, and I think they really need to solve that.
And what about these last 2 games, you know, especially the slow starts on the offense, both first possessions, turnovers, the bad snap by Rodgers against the Jets, and then last game I think was it a fumble or something too.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about this slow offensive start to the games so far this season?
Well, it's not good having turnovers, period. But coming out in your first 2 plays, the last 2 games have been fumbles, especially Eddie Lacy only had 1 fumble last season as a rookie. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't fumble snaps. Even with the rookie center, Corey Linsley, in there, Aaron Rodgers has pretty much praised him all season so far of what his work ethic has been. And it's just uncharacteristic of him to fumble a snap, and especially a quarterback his caliber. No quarterback in the NFL should fumble a snap anyways between their center. And, you know, going down with 2 turnovers right away and giving these other teams the 7-0 lead a minute into the game cannot happen anymore.
They keep just putting themselves in a hole, and they just can't work their way out of it. I mean, 3 receivers dropped at least 1 pass, which you can't have that. Randall Cobb called his 3 catches for 29 yards embarrassing. So I guess if they can just get things going, maybe next game against the Bears start out strong, then we'll see where it goes from there.
Why don't we stay on the offensive side of the football? Like you said, 223 yards of total offense for the Packers on the game. Rodgers struggles. Lacey continues to struggle. Guys, this was supposed to be the strength of this team coming into the season, the depth that they had at wide receiver. What's going on offensively? What has to change?
Well, I think a lot has to change, and I think they need to almost get away from this run game right now, stop splitting the carries, and the run and pass game about 50-50. I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers. You have to pass more. That's the first thing. You have a lot of weapons. I mean, granted, a couple of them aren't quite proven yet, but they're getting there. They have to gain the confidence of Aaron Rodgers, and the only way you can do that is by getting them the ball. And luckily, Aaron Rodgers came out today on his weekly radio show and said, for the fans in Packerland, I have 5 letters for you, RELAX, relax. We are just fine. We'll get this thing going.
I just think it's weird. They only had 2 formations the entire day. There's no creativity to the play calls. I guess that falls back on Mike McCarthy. And there's just way too much pressure on Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you can fault him for not having a good game. I don't think his head's been in there for most of the game. But there's just too much pressure. He has to thread the needle with, like, all of his passes. So, of course, he's going to underthrow the passes, not get them quite there. I just think if they need to improve the pass protection, they need to utilize Randall Cobb better. You've got one of the best receivers in the league with him and Jordy Nelson. You got to utilize him a lot better. He shouldn't just have 29 yards in a game, and I think they really need to find more creative ways to get him open.
I want to talk a little bit about the run game, the inability for it to get going so far this year. Eddie Lacy struggled. You can call it a sophomore slump so far. James Starks didn't play against the Jets. Dwan Harris, haven't seen much about him. Are you guys nervous about the slow start to the run game, or are you not as worried because of the first 3 teams that they played this season, their front seven, how good they've been.
I'm not really too nervous yet with the run game. The Seahawks have one of the best defense in the NFL. The Jets' front seven is just as good as anybody else in the NFL. And the defensive line for the Detroit Lions between Ndamukong Suh, Nick Fairley, Ziggy Ansah, Willie Young, Stephen Tulloch before he tore his ACL, and DeAndre Levy that's a solid front seven right there. And but there's always that battle up in the trenches. And Josh Sitton and T.J. Lane and the rookie Corey Linsley need to get angry and start opening up some holes. Josh Sitton's arguably the best left guard in the NFL, but I mean their run game hasn't looked like they have much talent up front right now.
I totally think they need to relax too. I think the run game will fine. It'll come. I think that, like I was saying before, the tight end position, going back to the safety, Richard Rodgers got pushed right over and they tackled Eddie Lacy in the end zone for the safety. 2 plays before that, he got pushed right over and Eddie was tackled up. It's just, I think if they can get someone to block better for him, he can find more holes, and I just think it will work a lot better.
So the last 6 quarters, really uncharacteristically, the defense has kind of been playing well and carrying this team, keeping them in the games. Dom Capers' new style of defense here, moving Clay Matthews, Julius Peppers all over the place. I guess, what are your thoughts so far on the overall play of the defense, especially maybe surprising the secondary's played pretty well too?
Yeah, well, the last 2 games I've been actually quite happy with this defense. Against the Seahawks, they didn't look good at all. But the pass rush the past couple games has actually surprised me a little bit with especially Mike Neal and Mike Daniels up front. Julius Peppers has made a couple plays. Clay Matthews, before he left with the groin, has made a few plays. But it's really been almost these other guys with their hands on the ground. Dayton Jones, Mike Daniels, Mike Neal at the outside linebacker been getting the majority of the pressure on the quarterbacks, and I'm really happy with them so far.
Yeah, those 2 guys are exactly who I would agree with, are doing great. Mike Daniels had not the greatest game in Seattle the first game, and then he told everybody that he was going to play different, and you could tell that he came out strong against the Jets. He was the only one who in that first half looked like he actually came ready to play that day. And I don't think you can fault the defense in this one. You can't obviously win a game when you only score 7 points. They produced 3 turnovers. They had a number of stops from the first through third quarters. They just couldn't get the defense off, or they couldn't get the offense off the field in the fourth quarter. So I don't think you can fault the defense in this one. They just have to capitalize.
Yeah. And I think a couple of guys that have stepped up really, Devon House, I don't know if somebody saw him making an interception the other day against the Lions. Then also a guy stepping in, Jamari Lattimore, going in for Brad Jones. I know that's been the Packers' weakness here these last few years. I'm not an A.J. Hawk fan. I probably never will be an A.J. Hawk fan. I guess, what have you thought of the inside linebacker play so far?
Well, the inside linebacker play actually looked pretty good against the Detroit Lions. Jets was a little shaky. Jamari getting a lot of playing time lately. But the nice thing is you really can't get worse than Brad Jones at the middle linebacker, no matter who they put in there. But Jamari actually has surprised me a little bit so far.
Yeah, I think Jamari has done a great job. I just think the overall pressure that the Packers have shown is just a lot more impressive than you've seen in years past. Yeah, they've been pretty shaky for the first few games of the season, but you just don't see that kind of pressure and quickness to the ball that you've seen in years past.
So 3 straight NFC North opponents here, back-to-back weeks for the Packers. Already lost the Lions. They go to Chicago this coming Sunday. I think it's an afternoon game. I guess looking ahead to this big showdown, you can't lose 2 divisional games in a row. What do the Packers have to do to come out with a win in Chicago on Sunday, you think?
Well, I think they need to contain the new monsters of the Midway, not referring to the defense anymore in Chicago. It's Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, and Martellus Bennett, who go about 6'5", 6'4", and 6'3" down the list. And those guys can go up and get any ball that's thrown in their vicinity, and are big physical guys that, don't mind being hit. And that's one of the kind of things that kind of scares me about this Packers secondary is they don't like to play too physical. I mean, they'll get physical if they have to, but they'd prefer not to.
Yeah, and you've got some of the best receivers in the league right there. Most of them are banged up. They have some injuries. Obviously, they're playing with them. But I think if we can capitalize containing them, then I think that will work out a lot better for them. And I think that we also have to capitalize on the Bears' mistakes. I don't think Jay Cutler's that good of a quarterback. I don't think he's been leading the offense that well. They capitalized on the 49ers' mistakes. That's how they ended up winning that game. I think they just need to contain them on offense, and they'll be okay.
And looking back in his career against the Packers, Jay Cutler has really struggled against the Packers, no matter how well he's coming into the game. But when we look at the other side of the ball, this Bears defense has been banged up too. You saw Charles Tillman's out. Conte's been hurt the last couple of days. So I guess what do you think what does Aaron Rodgers and that offense have to do to get to this Bears defense, who's been surprisingly good this year for the most part?
Well, first of all, it starts up front in the trenches. They have to be able to block Jared Allen and Lamar Houston. They're two big free agent signings who had a real good game Monday night against the Jets. And Aaron Rodgers, even though Kyle Fuller, the first-round pick by the Bears, has looked really good with 3 interceptions in 3 games, Aaron Rodgers has to attack him. I don't care if he's covering Jordy, Randall Cobb, or Jarrett Boykin. Who's ever Kyle Fuller's guarding, Aaron Rodgers has to attack him instantly.
I think so too. He's a rookie, and Rodgers is a lot smarter than that.
Yeah.
I think if he attacks one of those, he just needs to throw the ball more. I think that, yeah, the running game's just never that good against the Bears. I think we need to target Kyle Fuller. I think we need to go with the deep passes. The slant always works well for them. I think they need to get more of that. They just can't be shy on the passes.
And hopefully we see some more guys step up besides Jordy Nelson. It seems like the Packers have been a little, I won't say one-dimensional so far this year. I mean, Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson seem like they have a headset to each other in each other's helmets because, their chemistry is so well. But I think, do you guys want to see some other guys step up? Like you said, Randall Cobb, maybe Andrew Corliss, Richard Rodgers, definitely Eddie Lacy.
Yeah.
You want to see some other guys step up, definitely, right?
Yeah, and I really want to see somebody on the defense step up. They were talking about a stat last night during the game that when Jay Cutler first got to Chicago, he was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. But now over the past 2 years, the way the Bears have did their offensive line, signing Jermon Bushrod at left tackle, David De La Puente at center, drafting Kyle Long, and then Jordan Mills playing right tackle. He's one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the past 2 years.
Yeah. I would just like to see more receivers get involved in it, maybe target Devontae Adams a few more times, look at the tight end position. Andrew Corliss proved to have a nice catch in the last game. So
hopefully we can come out of Chicago next weekend with a win, get off this losing streak. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back with some more Sports Talk Live.
Hey, can't find what you're looking for?
What?
You can find what you're looking for and more at WMCM. WMCM-TV has plenty of shows you can view at your pleasure. There's Profile, where we interview people throughout the community. Or, if you like sports, we have Sports Talk Live and Sports Scene. And if you're into celebrity gossip, that's why we have Afternoon Delight.
Well, that all looks great, but I'm on a computer, not a TV. I bet you guys don't have a way for me to watch this stuff on a computer.
Oh, we have that covered too. Just go to WMCMTV.com for all the updates.
Wow, that solves all my problems. Thanks, WMCM Genie.
Welcome back to Sports Talk Live. We're going to play a little game we like to call Buy or Sell. I'm going to ask a question. These two are going to buy or sell that question. So why don't we start off? Teddy Bridgewater, Derek Carr, Blake Bortles, all seeing the field the first 3 weeks of the season. Everybody in that quarterback class except Johnny Manziel every once in a while. So I guess, guys, do you buy or sell this 2014 quarterback class as a whole?
I'm buying it right now. The Raiders are bad, but Derek Carr, he's shown his rookie stuff, but he hasn't looked too terribly bad. And Blake Bortles coming in after Chad Henne goes down didn't look too bad in his first career playing time. And Teddy Bridgewater didn't throw I don't think he threw a touchdown, but he looked pretty comfortable in there with the Minnesota Vikings.
I would definitely have to buy it too. I think you can obviously say that this class has had better success than last year. E.J. Manuel, Geno Smith. I think Blake Bortles, they couldn't keep him out any longer. When they were down 30-0, they had to put him in. He ended up with 200 yards. Same with Teddy Bridgewater. He didn't turn over the ball at all. Obviously, he didn't look stellar, but he's not going to get them to the playoffs or anything.
So all we're really waiting for is Johnny Football. He did do the fake argument passing, but we'll move on for that. Next one, Sunday afternoon, the Seahawks edge the Broncos in the rematch of Super Bowl 48. Guys, do you buy or sell the Seahawks team getting back to the Super Bowl this year?
I'm selling them getting back to the Super Bowl this year. They haven't looked that good in the past 2 weeks, losing to San Diego last week and almost losing to Denver at home this week. I mean, the one thing is Russell Wilson doesn't lose at home. Denver's new and improved defense looked good, and if that's a neutral site or at home or at Mile High, I think Denver wins that game.
I definitely think so. I think it's way too hard to win back-to-back Super Bowls. It just doesn't happen in the NFL like it does in other leagues. I think that the Seahawks don't look as good as they have been. I think the Broncos, if they were playing in Denver, definitely would have won that game without Russell Wilson being poised and calm at the end there. I mean, I don't know if they win that game.
So do you guys think the Seahawks are a completely different team at home and on the road? Is that what you guys are kind of saying there?
That's
Yes.
definitely what I'm saying, yeah.
All right, well, why don't we just keep moving on here. Monday Night Football, if you guys caught that last night, really good game, a grinder, slugfest. Bears, Jets, last night 27-19, Chicago won. The Packers play Chicago next week. I guess, do you buy or do you sell this 2-1 start by Chicago Bears?
I am selling this 2-1 start by the Chicago Bears. I don't think they've looked that good. I don't think Cutler's looked that good. And he's lucky that he has Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey and Matt Forte, some of the best weapons in the NFL. That offensive line's good, but that defense is way too questionable for them to be this good. I mean, they didn't play that good of teams. They lost to Buffalo in overtime, but Geno Smith's not a good quarterback, so I don't really say a whole lot with this win.
No, I would sell them too. I think that Matt Forte didn't have that good of a game last night. Brandon Marshall had 1 catch for 6 yards. I think that they're just a little too good, or it's not too good to be true right now, I guess. I would say. I think that they can definitely, I guess, I don't know. They're banged up, and I think that we can, as the Packers, can go in and win the game.
Well, I'm going to be the devil's advocate for you guys here. I'm going to buy the Chicago Bears start,
Okay.
really. This 2-1, if you look at it, the 49ers did lose this last week to the Cardinals. But I was really impressed. I'm not a big Jay Cutler fan, but his comeback against the 49ers was, I think, very impressive. And I think when you have guys like Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey, Jay Cutler's known for making bad decisions, throwing balls into spots. That's been his problem over his career. But when you got guys that both over 6'4", and he's kind of bailed them out. Yes, they've been banged up, but then you got a guy, Matt Forte, coming out of the backfield. I liked the Chicago Bears team. Like I said, they were pulling guys off the sidelines that nobody knew what their names were last night, and they were filling in for Chris Conte, Charles Tillman. So I know I'm a little scared, I guess, going into next week, and I really like this Bears team.
I don't know. Luckily, the Bears defense, has played a little better, but they're not that scary defense that the Bears defense has been known for the past few years. Past couple of years, they've been really shaky, especially in the secondary. I mean, Peanut Tillman was their go-to guy to create the turnover and get the ball back, but he's done. So I mean, I don't think they're the real deal.
Well, I guess we will find out this coming weekend. Big game this coming weekend for the Packers and the Bears. So we're gonna keep moving on here. Everyone saw some controversy going on in the NFL these last couple of weeks. Roger Goodell had a press conference on Friday about the state of the NFL. Do you buy or sell Roger Goodell? I know he said a lot of his emphasis was making things right. Do you buy or sell Roger Goodell getting the NFL out of the state and getting them on the incline here?
It's hard to say, but honestly, I'm going to buy it. I think he's going to get the NFL going back on the right track. I mean, the thing is with the NFL, they had one of the worst weeks in NFL history with all this hoopla that's been going on. But the thing is, the NFL is such a big business, and that the owners, who are Roger Goodell's bosses, really like Goodell and the job he's done as owner, and they're backing him. So I think Roger Goodell is going to obviously keep his job. A lot of people are calling for his job, and he's going to keep it. And I think he's going to somehow fix this. I don't know how, but I think he will.
I'm going to sell it just for the fact because you said that the NFL is such a big organization. It's so hard for one guy just to control it. I think the NFL is way too motivated by money, and that, like the Adrian Peterson thing, they weren't going to deactivate him until all of a sudden the Radisson hotels were pulling out of the deals. They're way too motivated by money, and I don't think that's something Roger Goodell can solely do by himself. He needs the support of everybody on his back.
So this investigation going on with, we'll go, tilt it a little bit back to Ray Rice. He's getting a lot of heat for, I guess, how he handled it and how things came upon. Do you like the way that Roger Goodell handled it, or do you think it could have been done a little better?
I think it could have been done a little better. 2 games to start with was just ridiculous in the first place. And then all this other controversy that they had the tapes and they didn't have the tapes, and the Ravens were begging to have him only be suspended 2 games. I don't know what to think about that anymore, because a lot of it was, Ray Rice told them exactly what happened in the elevator, and then they saw the tape, and then everybody got up in arms about it. Like, Ray Rice told them exactly what happened in that elevator, so it should have been dealt with, more severely as he told them that.
I would agree. There's a lot of discrepancy about what happened, and I think that you didn't need the video to give him that punishment. I think he should have got more than 2 games right off the bat, and I think the video getting released late just looks bad for the NFL, looks bad for Goodell. So.
Well, everyone has his back. We'll see what happens with that story. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk some Wisconsin Badgers, but we'll be right back on Sports Talk Live.
At the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, surround yourself with potential. Surround yourself with lifelong friends. Step on campus and be welcomed with a friendly smile. It's just like home. Surround yourself with nature's beauty. Nestled in western Wisconsin's driftless area, it's perfect for learning. Hike the bluffs, bike the marsh, soar. Surround yourself with challenging academics. Our motto is Men's Corpus Gay, Latin for mind and body. Experience a whole education. Conduct research. Surround yourself with distinction. Surround yourself with UW-La Crosse.
Welcome back to Sports Talk Live. Why don't we talk some good things here? The Wisconsin Badgers. Badgers throttled Bowling Green 68-17 Saturday, rushing for over 644 yards on 60 carries. Melvin Gordon had a big day. Hailey, what's going on with the Badgers here? They struggle, they play well. What's going on with the Badgers right now?
It's so hard to tell. I mean, obviously they're not playing the greatest of teams. Melvin Gordon got himself back into the Heisman race with his performance, 253 yards and 5 touchdowns. So that was good, and they set the Big Ten record with rushing yards. I think that the only problem they still struggle with, even in their huge win, is Tanner McAvoy. He's only 9 for 16, 112 yards. Granted, he didn't have to throw the ball if he didn't want to. They could have obviously just ran Bowling Green into the ground. But when he misses badly, or when he misses badly. He just still isn't there at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Watching Wisconsin, you can be happy with the run game, but that's Wisconsin football. We should be expecting not 600 yards, but expecting this, especially against teams like Bowling Green. I'm looking at the negatives out of this game, and like Hailey said, Tanner McAvoy's not good at quarterback. 9 for 16 against Bowling Green State. A wide receiver didn't catch a pass in this game. He hit the tight ends and the running back. Get it to Kenzel Doe. Get it to Jordan Fredericks. Throw it to the receiver out of the stands. I don't care. We need a receiver. We need a passing game. I don't like Stave, but I'm almost ready to start calling for Stave. I want to see the freshman DJ Gillians get some playing time. He can run the option, and I think he can probably throw better. He can't throw any worse.
I guess we'll find out here. They got one more game before they go into the Big Ten season, but we'll see how that all here. But famous Jameis Winston, if you heard, he had to sit out Saturday night's game for allegedly shouting out an obscene phrase that we will not say at a student function. Heisman candidacy probably took a hit for it. I guess we'll start with you, Hailey. Who do you have, I guess, as your front runner for Heisman candidate right now?
Right now, I have Todd Gurley as my Heisman candidate, and I'll tell you why. I think he has a very strong supporting cast, which makes him look a lot better, too. They're very deep at running back at Georgia, so that's nice because it keeps him fresh throughout the game. He can get the big yardage. Georgia's a top team in the SEC, and the SEC is so strong that they're going to continue playing the best teams in the nation, and that's going to bump up everybody's votes for him. They beat number 16 Clemson. He had 198 yards rushing with 3 touchdowns, not to mention also his 100-yard kickoff return. So I think that's a good game. I mean, Clemson has proven to be a good team. They almost beat FSC this week. So I think he can bounce outside, he can catch passes in the backfield, and he can run between tackles, and I think that makes him deadly.
Absolutely.
Well, I got Amari Cooper from Alabama, wide receiver. I know a wide receiver hasn't won the Heisman since Desmond Howard did, who was also a returner. But right now, Amari Cooper's on pace to set the greatest single-season collegiate wide receiving record. His first 4 games, he had 12 catches, 13, 8, and 10. He has 655 receiving yards right now through 4 games with 5 touchdowns. He's done this for 3 years now at Alabama. Last year he was hurt a little bit. But his most receptions that he's had in the season was his freshman year, 59 for 1,000 yards, and he's already at 43 for 655. Kid's 6'1", 6'2", about 210. Speedy, against Florida, he was playing against one of the best cover corners in college football, William Hargroves, and he just dominated him. And with all the weapons Alabama has, it's hard to, have this big of stats because they are so deep at every position at Alabama.
Well, I'm going to lead course you right now. I'm going to say not so fast. Here it is, Marcus Mariota. This is going to be your 2014 Heisman Trophy winner, the Hawaiian Killer. This guy's thrown for almost 1,200 yards already, 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's a playmaker, makes plays with his legs and his arm. Like I said, most importantly, this guy doesn't turn the ball over. Last year, he only had 3 interceptions last year. This year, 0 interceptions, 0 fumbles. This guy will win the Heisman. He will lead Oregon to an undefeated season. We'll see how far it goes into that playoff. But I don't think that Marcus Mariota is not going to win the Heisman if they keep winning games and if they stay undefeated. I think it's Marcus Mariota.
I think so too, but however, I think it's time for someone other than a QB to win.
Yeah.
All right, well, that leads us into this playoff prediction, this playoff talk. Bye-bye BCS system. Hello college football 14 playoff. I guess, guys, if the season ended today, who would be your 4 teams in the college football playoff right now?
I've got Florida State, Oregon, Oklahoma, and Bama. I feel like out of the 2 SEC teams of the Powerhouse Conference, I would say those 2. Oregon, I have a feeling they'll go to an undefeated season, and I don't see anybody knocking off Florida State for a while.
I agree with those 4 teams. I have them. I have Bama and Oklahoma switched around. I have Bama at 3. But I have a team outside looking in, and that's number 6, Texas A&M, led by Kenny Trill Hill. And a lot depends on the remaining schedule. They have ranked teams of Mississippi State, top 10 team with Ole Miss, Alabama, Auburn, and LSU left on their schedule. That's 5 ranked teams that they have left. If they could somehow maybe only lose 1 game out of those, I think you have to put Texas A&M in this top 4.
And let's not forget about no love for the Big 12. Oklahoma is still sitting there. We'll see how that. No love for the Big 12. We'll just stop it right there. All right, our last topic. An array of NFL stars are on the injury report across the NFL. Dennis Pitta, Danny Woodhead, Kyle Rudolph, Stephen Tolick, Clay Matthews now. Is there some other guys? What do you think about all these NFL stars being injured here for all these teams?
I just think it's crazy how many injuries there are. You look at last week, and it was like half of the running backs in the NFL were out. It's just weird to see. Jamal Charles, Deshaun Jackson. I mean, these teams are still proving to do well without them. They're finding ways around it. But I just think there's way too much going on, and there will be some big-time injuries for teams.
And I know you had a guy specifically that you want to talk about this whole show. What happened, I guess?
With Stephen Tulloch, I mean, trying to mimic Aaron Rodgers' discount double check, jumping up in the air, coming down, tearing his ACL. You feel bad for the guy because he is a really good middle linebacker, but it's just kind of funny to see Bill Gramatica reenactment of being excited and just tearing your ACL and ending your season.
All right, another guy we got to be worried about here, Clay Matthews, is back on the injury report. Hopefully he gets off here pretty quick. But that is all we have for you guys today. Join us again on Thursday for, I think,
Screening room.
So that's all we have. Have a good night, everybody.